In this video, I'm going to be taking you through the first few turns of Imperialist, how to play the game. So we're going to start with our civilians. I'm going to start with my prospector, and prospectors can look at hills, mountains, swamps, desert for hidden resources. So I'm just going to start him over there. My builder I'll start next, and the most important resources to get started are your actual food, because your workers in the factories need food. You start with 4 workers, so you need 4 food, and that's split evenly between grain and cattle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this side because it'll allow me to get 2 cattle, 2 grain, and it'll also head me towards forests and sheep as well, which I'll need for fabric and lumber. So I'm going to start my builder on that one. And then my engineer who can build roads. I'm going to start him to build roads over here. And actually, I'm not sure that's going to build a road. It's something I need to work on that bit. What I'm going to do for my navy is I'm going to start moving them towards the New World so that I can discover. In terms of my industry, I'm going to set lumber and cast iron to be created by my workers. So my 4 workers create 4 hammers. As you can see, each commodity needs 2 hammers. And the lumber and the cast iron are what you use at the start for your initial construction materials. So now I'm going to go to, actually, before I do that, technology, and I'm going to choose mine engineering because that leads across to better mining levels and also your precious mining, which will give you money instead of resources when you find them. So now we're set for our turn. Go to the next turn. And I'm going to get the prospector to keep prospecting. Now my engineer did actually build a road there, so it is working as intended. My engineer, I'll get him to build the road this way, around the mountain. So you're going to go to there. My builder, because I can't get onto that cattle, I'm actually going to start with this one here. So I get my 2 grain and then I'll focus on the 2 cattle. Now with transportation, the tile improvement itself doesn't have to be on the road. It can be either on the road or adjacent to a tile that has a road. So this farm here is being picked up by this road. So that's my civilians done. Come up, find my navy, get my navy to explore further out towards the New World. And there we go. Next turn. Going to get my engineer. What I'll do is I'll get the engineer to build to there. And I'll get my builder to come over and build on this cattle farm. Now one thing you notice is I'm starting to run out of lumber. So I'm going to go into my industry and change from 1 of each to 2 lumber. Get my prospector, keep prospecting. Now this is awesome to find 2 copper deposits, but we do need tin as well so that we can create bronze in our factories. Keep exploring. Now one thing I'm going to do before it gets too far along is I'm going to recruit 1 more worker. To get 1 more labourer I need 2 fabric and I've got 4 at the moment. So if I recruit 1, I've now got 5 available, but that's not enough to actually produce another commodity because you need 2 hammers, and since labourers only produce 1 hammer, you need 2 labourers for each factory line until you get into your promotions, which are done through technology. So instead, what I want to actually do is come into my units, and I want to purchase a ranged unit. I'm going to purchase a culverin, which is the initial type of artillery or bombard in the game, and that requires an actual labourer. So I'll buy that one. Now I don't have enough labourers, But you can see in my army, I now have a Culverin at the bottom. And the reason I'm doing that is because I do want some ranged unit in my army. So let's go to the next turn. Now you notice I actually got 2 lumber that time. It went from 1 to 3. Now, get my engineer. And what I'm going to do is notice this icon here. It means that this farm is not connected to the transportation network. So if I build a road to here, that will also mean it'll allow these 2 tree tiles to be connected as well, not just the first one. So extend my road to here, then I'll continue building the road down towards here for these wool and the cattle. So now I've got my 2 and my 1 cattle. Let's get my second cattle operating. Get my prospector, keep looking. And now we found iron over here. This is fantastic, by the way, to have 3 hidden resources found in the first 3 turns. Get my navy, bring it out, see if we can find the new world. Okay, so we got the new world now. Now either this is going to be a bay or a split between continents. But what we need to find now is a native city. So I'll bring my navy over here. Okay, and so we found 2. There's one there or one there. Now this one has an army, so it's the capital. And this one over here is just a city because it has no units in it. So what I'll do is I'll bring my navy over towards this side. And I'll show you how we can invade the new world with our army next turn. Get my prospector, keep prospecting. Now I will get my engineer to continue the road downwards to get these. Now I'm actually going to improve wool so I can get fabric to get more workers. Okay. If I now go into industry, I need to have a look at this because I've got no cast iron, so I'm going to need to drop it down to 1, 1. So that I can build something next turn. Otherwise, I won't have the resources, and I'll have to either trade for it, purchase it off the global market, or wait until I can produce it. So I've now done this turn. I go to my next turn, turn 5. And I've now got wool connected. So what I'm going to do actually is bring this guy over here to the tree. And I'm actually going to go onto the global market and I'm going to purchase 1 cast iron. And that will allow me to finish my road. So that means I will now have 2 cattle, 2 grain, 1 tree and 1 wool, which is the very basics that you need for a sustaining economy. The other thing you will need is iron, which we can connect up shortly. Because if I go into my industry, you'll notice to get fabric to increase our workers, we need wool. To get lumber, we need trees. For cast iron, we need iron. And at the moment, we need 2 grain and 2 meat. So that's all those guys. And if we go over to the new world, our ship is now ready and waiting. What you'll notice is we've got flags here that indicate a beachhead. A beachhead is where if an army of yours begins the turn in a port, you can move it to the beachhead through the navy that is forming the beachhead. So let me explain that again. A navy that begins the turn next to enemy land tiles will form a beachhead, which allows an army that begins the turn in a port, and all cities are ports. So the army that begins the turn in a port is then able to use the navy that forms the beachhead to invade the enemy province. So I'm going to bring my army over to here. Okay. So next turn I'll be able to attack this province. Let's go to the next turn. So if I bring my army now, I can bring it over and capture this province. And there we go, we've now captured it. And you can see the edge of the border down here. But at the moment, we've got this fog, which is hiding what's the rest of the land in this province. So I'm going to bring my navy further down. Now the navy can only see one tile in from the coast. The same as the army can only see one tile out from the coast. I then come over and I keep prospecting. Now my engineer, what I'm actually going to do is build a road here. This will allow to connect the iron. Now I'm out of lumber and cast iron, so I can't do anything with my builder this turn, but that's fine. If I also go into my research, you'll see I'm almost done with mine engineering. So because I can't do anything with my builder, I'm just going to end the turn. Okay, and another copper. Wow, this is unheard of. Anyways, I will now get my builder to come over and improve this iron resource. Now I can't do anything with the engineer. But you'll see from our logistics that we're collecting our food, we're collecting our wool and our lumber, and very shortly we'll also get iron. And that is the very basics you need to get an economy running. So if I now come over, now you'll see here that we have an army in this province. So what I'll do is I'll bring my army across, because once again we have a beachhead here, and that is a port, and it's a friendly port. Go back, it's my builder, and I can't build it, engineer, and I can't do anything at the moment. So we're still producing lumber and cast iron, which is great. And I'm going to end the turn. And we just found another iron here, which is fantastic, which will mean we'll be able to, over time, connect 2 lumber, 2 wool, and 2 iron to enable us to produce 1 fabric, 1 lumber, and 1 cast iron every single turn, which is a fantastic start to the economy. So I'm actually going to improve that tile now. And if I go into my industry, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at being able to recruit labour. So I have a number, so I'm going to reduce the amount of cast iron I can produce, but I'm going to produce fabric instead, because I want to recruit workers, which will allow me to produce more. Now I'm going to show you combat. So I take my army and I attack the tribal army, the tribal capital. Now this is the combat screen. It plays like a game of capture the flag. So my goal is to capture the enemy flag tile. I'm on the bottom, England. So the grey units are ranged or siege units. The blue are cavalry units and the green are infantry units. So with the ranged units, they can only, every unit must deploy to your deployment row. But with a ranged unit, they may only stay in the deployment row. They cannot move to another row, but they can attack any tile in their column, and I'll show you that shortly. A cavalry unit has 2 action points, which means they can move 2 tiles or move 1 tile and attack, or just simply attack. and waste the other action point. Now, when a unit attacks from infantry or cavalry, they must attack either left, right, up or down. They cannot attack diagonally or more than one tile away. I'm also going to bring my infantry up through here as well. Now I'm going to end my turn because no one has action points left. Now you see that he's brought his, that'll be a bowman, a tribal bowman down to here, and his infantry units into there. So I'm just going to move my cavalry one tile, because that means they then have to move into here to attack, or next turn I can do my 2 hops to attack. I'm going to attack with my ranged unit. Now you can see how I can only move left or right, the green tiles, but I can attack red, this tile up here, because it is in the same column as the artillery unit. Now the way it works is that the attack number is dispersed across the defense numbers of all units in the tile. So because my attack was 8, it eliminated both units which had very small defense, because tribal units have very weak units at the start of the game. So I'm going to bring my cavalry unit up. Oh no, I can't. I've just run out of action points. End the turn. Now he moved over and attacked with his ranged unit. So now what I can do, if you watch, attack 8 against defense 1. So this will easily kill the enemy unit, and I move my cavalry up into the flag tile, and that's the end of the combat. And now I've won the province. With my navy, I'm going to keep the navy moving. Let's bring it up to here. Keep going further. Now I'll come back over to the old world. And I've got no resources, so I can't actually do anything with my engineer. And I'm going to show one more turn. So in our warehousing, you'll see that we've got 4 food, 2 grain and 2 cattle, which are being consumed. That's the negatives here, which means we have a balance of 0. This consumed is by the workers, because we have 4 workers, 4 food, 4 workers, and it balances out. We're not increasing our stockpile of food. You'll also see we've got wool and timber coming in. Now wool goes towards fabric, which is used for recruiting. Timber goes towards lumber, which is used in construction. And now we've also got iron coming in, which is used in construction as cast iron. You can see we produced 2 fabrics, so I can now recruit a new worker, which is done via the industry screen, and I can recruit the labour. Now I also need 1 more, so I'm just going to produce 1 fabric this time, so I get 2 fabric. And I'm also going to produce 1 lumber. Now what this will then mean is I need extra food. So I could conceivably connect this grain where the engineer is sitting. So I could move my engineer over here, but I have no lumber or cast iron, so I could go into trade and buy 1 lumber, buy 1 cast iron, get my builder and build this grain, and that will then mean I've got 3 grain and 2 cattle, which is what we require to support our workers. Now the final thing I wanted to show is this icon indicates that it's not connected, and I just wanted to reiterate that it's not connected, which means it will not be transported to your capital for you able to be used by your industry. And that's how you get through the first few turns of Imperialist. So please join the Discord server. The icon is on the main menu, because I am so interested in finding out any feedback you have, suggestions, feedback, your first impressions, and definitely any bugs that you come across. So I hope you enjoy Imperialist, and thanks for playing.